Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is Ugwudi-Nwigwe from Lagos, Nigeria. I'm so sorry. This broadcast was actually scheduled for 12, but we had to reschedule it because we had some other issues that came up that needed to be fixed. I'm really sorry because some people were already chatting me that they were waiting. So, how is it going? How are we finding now? How are we enjoying our weekend? For me, I don't have weekends, I don't have anything. In fact, I almost forgot today was Saturday. For me, all days are the same. I'm at work every day. Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for joining. So today's topic is on color of abuse. Color of abuse. That reminds me of one song I used to listen to when I was a teenager, Color of Love. What is the color of love and what do you see? But this time we're going to be looking at the color of abuse. And I needed to make this video because I realized that a lot of women don't really understand what abuse is. They don't understand when they find themselves in an abusive relationship. And a lot of times people think abuse only happens to you when someone has raised his hands on you, when someone has slapped you. That's what people call abuse. So today we are going to be looking at the different aspects of domestic abuse and help our ladies to clarify this. Yeah, someone was making a post, a comment to my post yesterday. He was asking that, or proposing that this topic should also be for the men. And I just want to clarify, yes, our men equally experience domestic abuse and domestic violence. But like I explained in that post, I don't discuss issues of men. We all have our callings. We all have the people that we have been sent to. So I'm very sure that there are people who are equally talking about men and the challenges that men are experiencing. But my primary focus, my primary concern every time I show up here on these topics is to help our women, is to give them that understanding, simply because that's what my inclinations are. So apologies to our men. If you have your ladies out there, please, you can invite them to watch this. So I'm not talking about domestic abuse as it relates to men. So I must clarify this. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to start by explaining what domestic abuse is. Just giving a very brief definition on it. So anytime for a lady, whether you're single or married, okay, this discussion is within the context of intimate partnership, or you're in marriage, maybe you're courting someone, you're dating someone, and you experience that attempt, sorry, I need to clear my nose, you experience that attempt by your partner to control you, you notice that attempt by your partner to control you. It's most likely that your partner has that tendency to be abusive. But you just have to watch it, okay? You have to look out for some of the things that I'm going to be discussing with us this afternoon. So the first one there is physical abuse. And this is the one that people are very conversant with. People are always referring to. That's when your partner or your friend is using physical force. You have an argument, you get into a quarrel, and the next thing you're getting a slap. He pulls out his belt, he starts beating you, or he flogs you, or he hits you with an object, pushes you. Generally, he's going to use physical force on you. That is physical abuse. You experience choking, I've heard they said they got into an argument and the man just started, held onto their throat and started choking them and started strangling, trying to strangle them, and they had to find a way to escape. Some people had that experience. So if you are in that relationship, constantly happening, it didn't happen once, it just keeps happening and reoccurring, that is physical abuse that you're experiencing. And in some cases, people start threatening themselves with weapon. I've heard of incidences. In fact, a woman actually lost her life. She was stabbed to death by her husband. And I've done this video before. They said the man had dementia, and this was how. Okay, sorry, I had a brief interruption with my network. So that woman I think that happened even this year, some months ago. That woman was stabbed in her sleep severally by her husband, who they claimed after he had killed the woman. And further investigation revealed that this woman had severally complained to friends and people in her women's meeting that her husband keeps chasing her about with a weapon. And I still don't understand why anybody would want to risk their lives in that kind of relationship where your life is being threatened. Every day someone is chasing you about with a weapon. So these are signs that you're experiencing physical abuse. Your man is pushing you, he's hitting you, he's trying to choke you, and he's using all forms of physical force when there is a misunderstanding, or even when there is nothing. He may just come in and frustrated about one thing or the other, and the next thing these things start happening. So there is physical abuse is what is going on with you and that person. So you have to watch out for it. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the next form of domestic abuse, which is the topic of what we're taking today. What are the colors of abuse? How does a woman know that she's experiencing domestic abuse in her relationship? So we've just discussed physical, where he's going to use physical force. The second one I'm going to be talking about today is sexual abuse. And this one is a bit funny because a lot of times married people don't know that some people are being abused sexually. They don't even accept it as a form of abuse. But today I want you to know that some people are experiencing sexual abuse. And in this case, the abuser also uses force on you as the victim. Sometimes it could come as unwanted kissing, or you don't really feel like it and you're being forced. If you're constantly experiencing force, sexual force, your partner is forcing you into sex or having a sexual relation with him. Yes, I know some people are going to argue this, that yes, your dowry has been paid, he's married you, he's your husband. But yes, this has to be by the consent of the two people. It's not nobody should be forced into having a sexual relationship. So if you find out that your partner is always is always threatening you, is always using force on you when you're not in the mood for that sexual session, you are experiencing sexual abuse, and you need to discuss it with your spouse, or you need to speak up about it quickly. Sometimes it could be rape. There's this argument that's been going on about married couples, and people are asking that is it possible that a married person can be raped by her husband? I need you to know that men are actually being raped. There was an incident some time ago where a lady was complaining that her husband was forcing her to have anal sex. and this was not something she was very comfortable with, but she had to do it, and she had been doing it for many years. And the reason why she started speaking up about it was because she had an issue, with her anus, and she wasn't comfortable anymore with it. She now started asking questions about it, but this was going on. And because she felt that she was married and this was her husband, she didn't think there was anything wrong with it until she started, speaking up about it. So we need to help our ladies to understand that sexual abuse can happen between intimate partners, especially when one person is not in the mood. Okay, there has to be cooperation. We should be able to agree. We should be able to speak about this and reach an agreement. It's not supposed to be something that one person is being forced to do the things that she doesn't desire to do. So if that's your experience in your marriage or in your relationship, I need you to know today that you are abused and you need to speak about it. In some cases, it comes as restriction. This is for married people. The man puts a restriction on the woman to have birth controls or use condoms and all that, and the lady keeps getting pregnant. I've heard of stories where the lady says that she keeps getting pregnant and the man still forces her to abort the baby. It's not as if they are prepared for that baby, but each time the lady gets pregnant, she's also being forced to push out the baby. My dear, you're putting your life at risk. You need to know that you're experiencing sexual abuse and you need to get help ASAP. You need to get help as soon as possible. So that's that. We have discussed sexual abuse and physical abuse. So anytime you're in a relationship where your partner, intimate relationship, where your partner is using force, is controlling you, is manipulating you, and makes you feel less of yourself, you need to know that you are in a relationship where you're experiencing domestic abuse and you need to seek help. Okay, help is available for you. I need us to share this video as you coming in, as you joining. Please share this video so that more people can watch it. Yeah. So the next point, the next type of abuse I'm going to be talking about is emotional abuse. In fact, this one, the women, this is the one that a lot of women find themselves in, and they don't even know what's happening to them, because a lot of women who have experienced emotional abuse, they tend to also suffer from inferiority complex. They stop believing in themselves. They don't think they're good enough. And these are things that these men keep telling them. If you find yourself in a relationship where your partner is constantly criticizing you, constantly belittling or intimidating you, and using words on you that are affecting you emotionally, that is bringing you down, that is keeping you depressed, you are in a relationship where you're being emotionally abused, and you need to shout out. You need to shout out. This is not something to pray about. This is not a prayer point at all. I tell you, you really need to get help as possible, because what's happening with you is that your confidence is being eroded, and there is nothing that destroys a woman more than her confidence being eroded. She loses self-worth. She doesn't believe in herself anymore. You really need to start talking to people, the right people, not pastors. Because pastors and religious bodies, I'm sorry, they don't really appreciate what goes on with a woman and emotional abuse. A lot of women go through this, and they seem to be expressing their issues to the wrong people, who keep telling them to go and pray. Everybody tells them that there is something wrong. Maybe there is something you're not doing right. You need to go and do it this way. Maybe you need to change this. Maybe you need to add this. Maybe you need to do that. I'm sorry, there is nothing you need to change. Just understand there and then that someone that you were relating with is abusing you emotionally. A lot of times, the man is using words on them, calling them names, body shaming them, or telling them, say something about a part of their body. If you find yourself in this kind of relationship, my sister, you are being emotionally abused. If your man calls you prostitute, he tells you that there is something wrong with some part of your body, maybe that your leg is so thin, or they're just looking for things on you to use against you whenever there is conflict between the two of you, or even when there is nothing. Because a lot of times some of these women say there is actually nothing. It's not as if they can't even really place their hands on what exactly they have done, said to them. It could also come up in ways when your partner tries to make decisions on your behalf. Emotional abuse. You're being emotionally abused when you have a partner who does not believe in your ability to make decisions by yourself. He thinks that he needs to think for you. He doesn't allow you to take your own decisions. He doesn't allow you. He tells you what to wear. He tells you when to go somewhere. He's monitoring you. He tells you to stop using your phone. He tries to stop you from doing the things that make you you. My dear, you are being emotional relationship, okay? And you need to get help ASAP. And if you're watching this video and you know any lady who is experiencing this, it would be nice to share this video with them, or drop their contacts if they need to talk to someone, or you can even inbox me privately if you're having this experiencing what I'm talking about here, and you don't know what to do, you don't know who to talk to, or you've actually spoken to some people, but maybe the kind of advice that they're giving you is just not working. You need to actually speak up and start working on this issue, because you can never be free if you're in a relationship where you're experiencing domestic abuse. So this third point is on emotional abuse. I just explained it, that the man in that situation, he's using words on you, he's telling you things, he's criticizing you, he's making you feel less of yourself, he's making you feel that something, he's using your family or anything that is around you in your life. He's using those things against you, and tells you that there is something wrong with you, something wrong with your brain, or there's something wrong with the way you're thinking. He just keeps picking on you and picking on parts of your body or your family members, or things that happened in your life, or some story. Yes, you had shared some story with him in the past, maybe your past relationship. He's going to use those stories, this time to abuse you, to tell you things that you don't want to hear, things that make you feel less of yourself. If you're in a relationship where this is happening, I need you to know that that partner is emotionally abusing you, and you need to take charge of your life. You need to take charge of your emotion. You need to start talking to the right people so that you can get help as soon as possible. Yes, so far we have discussed the physical abuse, the sexual abuse, and emotional abuse. And the fourth type of abuse that I'm going to be discussing today is financial abuse. This one is the big one. This one is their grandmother. In fact, I love talking about this one because this one always happens in combination, with the other ones. Because in a lot of places where the people are experiencing physical abuse or sexual abuse or emotional abuse, most likely they're also experiencing financial abuse. And excuse me, I'm going to tell you how to know that you're experiencing financial abuse in your marriage or in your relationship. One, it could be that your partner is intimidated by your achievements or by your potentials or who he thinks that you might likely become. A lot of times what happens to some of our women is that the man marries them and tells them that they are going to stop working. Anytime you have a relationship with a man and he starts talking to you about the need to stop working, you need to be very careful. You need to pay close attention to that advice from him. You need to sit down and try to understand what exactly he's trying to say. Now, I also understand and appreciate the fact that some families have the scenario where the woman or the man or whoever, there's an agreement that one party will not be working for some time. Yes, that's the reason why two of you need to really sit down and discuss extensively what exactly you people are doing. If there is a plan you people have outlined on how you want to run your lives, that's okay. But if the man is just saying stop work, and there is no explanation to it, there is no tangible explanation to stop work. Okay, you're stopping your work. Is it going to put you on a salary? Is it going to take charge of every expense in the home? I mean, what are the conditions surrounding stopping that work? You need to be able to understand it very well, because a lot of ladies that have fallen into this trap where the man told them, in fact, there are cases where he even said to them, don't worry, I'm going to put you on this salary. And I tell you, the guy did not keep to that promise, because anytime there is a conflict, he will withdraw the resources that usually come. And a lot of times the children are even affected. The children are affected in these things. So you need to really, really look out for this one, because this is one of the very big ones that is not well managed. Okay, a lot of times he might withhold money from you, and once you quarrel, just know that there is no feeding money. The children are going to suffer. You too, you're going to suffer. If that's happening in your relationship, I need you to understand financially abused. If your husband tells you to stop working, he stops providing even after promising that if you stop working, he's going to provide. If he didn't keep to that promise, you are experiencing financial abuse. That's how to know that you're being abused. Another way to know that you're being abused financially is when you're he knows you're not working, or you're still in that phase where you are not very financially stable, and he begins to cut off things from the budget, and both of you know that these are things that he can actually afford. Someone actually shared with me an experience where a man was giving them a very funny amount weekly, something that should actually be used for shopping in a day. The man was giving her that amount of money to shop for the whole week, and that money was not just for food. That money also was supposed to cater for provisions. That money was supposed to cater for the children's diapers, and I mean, an outrageous amount that you wouldn't believe of doing such a thing. So if that kind of thing is happening to you, and it is not a situation where you can see that, he's not able to do it. He's able to do this, decides, for reasons best known to him, that, he's going to cut, the budget down, and puts you in a situation where the resources that, he's made available is not sufficient to run the house. And and in that kind of environment, you still find out that that man still comes back, he's making trouble. You go to the market, you try to manage those resources, he still comes back, picks quarrel, and tries to make you feel that you have spent that money on things that you didn't spend that money on. My dear sister, you are being abused in that relationship, and you just need to know this, and you need to speak up quickly about the challenge. Yes, I explained earlier that this usually happens in relationships where that woman is not yet is still financially dependent on that man. These are the conditions that open us up to this kind of situation where the man uses his money as the weapon to control the spouse. Yeah, so I've already explained that in that relationship, when you're being financially abused, he forbids you from working, and also he sabotages employment opportunities. You come to him, or someone refers you to an opportunity, and the next thing he tells you, he just finds, an excuse for you not to take that opportunity. He tells you stories, he tries to brainwash you, he tries to give you reasons that are just not valid why you should not take that job offer. I tell you, that guy is a financial abuser. I already mentioned the points that he also controls how money is spent. You're in a relationship where your spouse is trying to be in total control of how you spend money. He makes you to, and he wants to, check out that list. He wants to tell you the things that should be bought and the things that should not be bought. That relationship is most likely a relationship where you're experiencing financial abuse. Okay, so you need to watch out for it. Also, you can watch out for situations where he has a business and he is forcing you against your will to work in that business. Maybe that business is not really the thing that you're thinking about. You may have your own interests, you may have your own type of business that you want to have, the kind of job that you want to do, but he just keeps on forcing you, to work in his own business that he set up. And a lot of times you're working in that business and they are not going to provide you with salary. He's not going to pay you anything in that business that you're working, because he believes that you are the wife and whatever you're doing is for the family. But he doesn't remember that you are giving your time to that business, and you are also entitled to being paid for the services that you're rendering. You find yourself in this kind of situation, my sister, you're in a situation where you are being financially abused. Then the last example I'm going to give under financial abuse, because I have really taken a lot of time on this financial abuse, and I'm doing that because this one is really a very serious one, and this one really affects our women so badly, and not just our women, even the children in that relationship. When you have that man who always spends on himself and does not spend on you, he gets himself the best of things, he goes to the best shop to get his own things, and he doesn't even think about you or even the children. He's just thinking about himself. Every year he gets himself a new car, and you don't even have a car to your name. If you have to drive, you have to come and ask him for the consent to use his own car, and both of you know that he can actually afford to get you a car. He's changing cars for himself every year. Maybe yours is the one that is always going to the mechanic every year, and every year you people are spending on your car. He's not doing anything to support you. My darling, you're being financially abused, and you need to do something to help yourself. You need to do something to help yourself. So yes, if you're just joining us, thank you for joining. Today we're looking at the colors of abuse, because a lot of our ladies, single and married ladies, don't really understand or don't know what to look out for in an abusive relationship. So I explained at the beginning that when you're in a relationship where one person is always trying to intimidate you, is always trying to dominate and trying to control you, he makes you feel less of yourself. You need to watch out for that person, because you are most likely in a relationship where you're being abused. And the last point I'm going to be making for today, Sister Mabel, thank you for joining. Let me look at the comments and to see what you're saying. Yeah, so the last point for today is on spiritual abuse. Spiritual abuse in our intimate relationships, not the one that happens in church. Let's leave that one, because that is a topic for another day. You can actually find yourself being abused spiritually in your intimate relationship with your spouse. Let me give you an instance when this can happen. When there is conflict and your man is using scriptures to defend himself, or scriptures to put you in bad light, there is conflict, and instead of him calling the two of you or both of you sitting down to look at the problem and to look at where these issues are coming from, the person is quoting the scriptures for you, and he's talking about yes, but they said that wives should submit to their husband. But that's not the issue right now. The issue is that something has resulted in conflict. What is the reason why we're here? Let us address the issues. Let us look at the root of the problem. But rather than going to the root of the problem, the person is using scriptures to confuse you and to cover up, the issue, or to sweep it under the carpet and make you to feel guilty. You are experiencing spiritual. If you're in a relationship where your partner is always using Bible, is always using scriptures, to put you in bad light, you're being abused. Please, when there are issues, we are human. We're going to definitely have conflict in our relationship. Let us look at the problem first. Let us not put the scriptures first. And let us not even, because that scripture, the Bible has been written for all of us. And we keep finding we are going to fail at one thing or the other in line with the Bible. But if someone is going to keep using that thing, to taunt you, to haunt you, yes, but they said it here, but you're not doing that. No. Let us discuss the real issues. Let us look at what the issues are. Let us bring it out, and iron it out. And then later we can say, yes, actually referring to this part of the Bible, yes, this is what was said. But using that, as a defense mechanism and putting the woman down, and trying to make her, feel that she's a rebel, or she's going against the scripture or something. If that's the kind of relationship where you are, you're being spiritually abused by your spouse, because what's happening there is that your partner is using those scriptures to control you, and that's not the purpose of the Bible. That's not the reason why those scriptures have been written. Then another way that you can know that abused is when your spouse is forcing you to give up your own values. He's forcing you, the things that are important to you, he's forcing you to stop them, he's forcing you to change them. He's just controlling you. He's trying to stop you from being you, using scriptures. you are being spiritually abused in that relationship. Another way you can know that you're being spiritually abused is he doesn't allow you to practice your moral or religious belief. Okay? He doesn't allow you to practice your moral or religious belief, and he's trying to impose his own on you. Please, we're all adults here, and there should be freedom of religion. If you're in that relationship where you have that controlling spouse that does not want you to practice what you're comfortable doing, at least to the point where you are comfortable accepting his own, beliefs and the things that he wants to strongly. If you're being forced to drop yours for his own, then you're being abused spiritually, because we are all at different levels of growth, in our walk with God. Should all be able to accommodate one another, so if you're being forced to change from what you know and what you believe, yes, if truly he has a superior understanding of whatever he believes, then he should be able to be patient with you to also come to that point of understanding. But whereby he's now controlling or trying to be forceful about it, it is spiritual abuse, and you need to discuss it, with someone who understands what you're going through. So these are the points that I'm making today. 5 points. How do I know that I'm experiencing abuse? What are the colors of abuse? So far we've talked about physical abuse, which is the one that most people are very conversant with, and every time abuse is mentioned, that's what comes to their mind. But there are so many other ways that a woman can be abused by her intimate partner, which I have explained today. Sexual abuse is there, financial abuse is there, emotional abuse, and now spiritual abuse. So thank you for joining. If you found this video enlightening and there was something you were able to pick up from this video, and you know someone who is in a relationship where she's experiencing any of these forms of abuse, please share this video with her and get her enlightened, get her educated, and let her know that she can actually do something about her situation. It's either she calls her spouse to order so that they can both discuss this problem and see how they can find a better way to address their challenges, or she may have to start seeking for help through other means. So thank you, friends. Sister Mabel, I see all the loves. Thank you so much, Sister Fola, and everyone who has shared this video. Thank you so much, and I'm going to see you some other time. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. I am going back to work. Thank you.